Welcome to another episode of the Play Callers Sports Talk Radio Show. I am one half of the dynamic duo, Stephen Box, joined as always by my co-host.
The other half of said duo, Cool McCain.
Cool, man. What's going on with you tonight?
Nothing much, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, man, living the dream, man. Living the dream. Get to get on here, talk some sports with the people tonight. So looking forward to having a great show.
Absolutely. We got to start off with a little breaking news. This came out
Got some
within the
breaking
hour.
news.
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Within the hour, multiple sources have confirmed Antonio Brown has signed a one-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's interesting to me, I do recall a time a few months ago when we asked the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, reporters asked the head coach, and he responded essentially, "We don't need Antonio Brown." Paraphrase, of course, but apparently something's changed because he's now a Buccaneer.
Yeah, I do remember those comments. I don't remember exactly what got said, but I do know that you were being a little bit kind in phrasing that the way you did for him, because
Oh,
I remember
absolutely.
they were a little less
Absolutely.
positive than that even.
Yeah, and Brown had a couple of suitors. They were pushing to get him in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. Also, Seattle was pushing to try to sign him. So he had a couple of different options that at least we know about of teams that were interested in him. But he chose to go to Tampa Bay. Fournette did the same thing. So it sounds like Mr. Tommy Football in there, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are kind of bending to the wheel of number 12 a little bit, as teams seem to do with that guy who's won championships in a couple of different places in the NBA.
Funny how that tends to work out, man. Just real quick, guys, we do have a few people popping in here viewing. We did have some technical issues before we went on tonight, so if you have any issues with either one of our audio, whether it's too low or you can't hear us or anything, please let us know so that I can continue to work on that. I think we got everything fixed, but just in case, just a little shout out in the comments would definitely be appreciated on that, so we that way you guys can hear what we're saying. Yeah. So my thing, man, is when it comes to the Antonio Brown going there. So what? I mean, I guess people are going to act like this is going to put Tampa over the top or whatever. But we just had the same conversation about Dallas right after the draft. You can only throw so many passes, and your receivers can only catch so many footballs. You already had two really good wide receivers in Tampa. You have multiple tight ends who are talented in Tampa. Antonio Brown is not a guy who's going to be happy if he's not getting football. He's used to Ben Roethlisberger forcing him 20 passes a game. So I don't see this anywhere personally.
Well, to me, see it completely different because the important thing is, and he's getting back into the league. The team is actually signing him. We're going to get a chance to see him on a field at some point. We're going to get a chance to see how he interacts with his teammates, the other team, what's going to happen when he's not getting the ball, right? So if he comes in, and obviously he's had some issues off the field, been a little cuckoo at times, but if he comes in, handles himself correctly for the rest of this year, there's no denying his talent. There's never been a question if Antonio Brown can still play football. The questions have always been up here. So if he comes in this year, goes to this particular situation, and there's no issues, then that tells a lot of teams that may be wide receiver needy next year. This is a guy that we may bring in on a 1, 2, 3-year deal, see what we can get out of him. Because honestly,
for Antonio Brown is a great deal.
Yeah, honestly, to me, this is insurance. Something happens, Mike Evans gets hurt, Chris Godwin gets hurt again. They had some other receivers I know have been a little banged up. They did lose O.J. Howard for the rest of the year. So, this may be a signing that pays off for them down the road. Once they get into the end of the year, the playoffs, is a guy with experience. So I think it could work out for both parties. And the most important thing is 1 year deal. So he can go back out in the market next year if he does what he needs to do. If he doesn't, they're done with him after this year. So I think it's a win-win for both. Both parties have something to lose, but a dynamic receiver you don't come across every day. And take that as an Eagles fan. You don't come across dynamic receivers all the time. We should be looking to see what happens with him the rest of the year. He's played about as many games as Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson in the last couple of years. So, hey, if this works out, maybe we're a team that slides in there and say, hey, man, come over here and sign a deal for a couple of years. We could use somebody. 49ers, use somebody. I could sit here and name about 5 or 6 teams that he can make better off the gate. So getting him back into the league is a good thing.
Look, I don't have an issue with them signing him. I think that it's a smart, low risk move for them. I think it's potentially good for him if he comes in and does what he needs to do. I'm just really commenting more on what I know is going to happen for the next week, which is going to be like everybody, clipping themselves in and hanging upside down and, handing the Buccaneers a Super Bowl trophy. And I just don't think that he's going to have that kind of impact on the team. It's going to be a situation like you said. Maybe if somebody gets injured, he might be a guy that might really help them out in that area, or he might be just an extra guy they can put in there to do some things. But is he going to put them over the top? No, I don't think their offense was already good enough that I don't think that adding Antonio Brown to it makes it any that much better. I think they were already good enough to win with the offense they have. So I just don't think he's going to make that big of a difference in terms of championship. With the other stuff, I absolutely agree with you.
Well, the thing is, like I said, one of the things is he has experience. He has experience in the playoffs. We know it's one game in the regular season. It's a different game in the playoffs. So they have expectations of getting there. This may not be a move for week 8, week 9. This may be a move for week 12, week 15, if we get that. So that's the thing. You get a receiver hurt. You get a receiver that catches COVID, has missed a couple of games. You now got a guy that you can throw out there, and you don't lose a lot of production based on what he's done previously. So to me, it's a no lose situation from that perspective. It's insurance. He's going to get some snaps. Clearly, he's going to get some snaps. But yeah, he's not going to come in. He's not going to make them a Super Bowl contender now if they weren't already. But if you look at the NFC, you think about teams as of now that are looking good. Tampa Bay's defense is playing really well. You've got Tom back there who still got a little chip on the shoulder from being embarrassed a few weeks ago about the whole fourth quarter thing. Now you're adding another veteran piece that still has something to give and has had time to let his body recover from any injuries that he may have had while playing. So I don't see it as a bad thing, but I do agree it's not going to make them now, no one can stop Tampa Bay because they have Antonio Brown. This isn't Antonio Brown from 3 years ago before all the stuff happened, but it could end up being good long term.
And we were actually going to talk about this a little later in the show, but since you brought it up, another guy that people are going crazy over joining somewhere right now is Le'Veon Bell going to the Kansas City Chiefs. And, I know you have Edwards-Helaire in fantasy football, so you've really been kind of watching him and see what he's been doing just because you have a vested interest there. And I'm sure you would agree that outside of maybe a little bit in the passing game, Le'Veon Bell really doesn't bring anything more to them than what they already had. It's just, again, it's a depth thing. You're just adding extra bodies on the field. You're just giving yourself some extra insurance. But I don't think he is, especially at this point in his career, he's not anywhere near as explosive as he once was. He might not even really be the best back there anymore. Edwards-Helaire might actually already be a better back than Le'Veon Bell is at this point in his career because he's clearly started to slow down. Now, maybe part of that was just playing behind a really bad Jets offense, but, I can't also rule out the fact of his age.
Well, I think he automatically slots in as their number 2 back, right? He automatically slots in as the best back on their team, not named Edwards-Helaire. So now you want to take Helaire out for a couple of plays. Maybe he gets hurt, or maybe you want to preserve him in a blowout win or something like that. You want to go with different formations, do some different things. You now have a guy who is an improvement as a pass catcher, I believe, over Edwards-Helaire that you can put in certain situations. You've also got a guy that hopefully will come in and mentor Edwards-Helaire and say, look, man, you want to get to this level? These are the things that you need to do. So I think both signings, in a way, are mentor relationships that you're hoping that you get out of it. So you're hoping that, Le'Veon Bell comes in, and not necessarily, this is how you be a great leader, but this is how you are a great running back. These are the things that you can do off the field. These are the things that you can do in your off weeks. These are the things you can do. This is how you can break down film, things like that to help him develop. And he should be able to play that role because he's been around long enough, and he is an intelligent back. He was smart enough to get his way out of the Jets, and that's by itself shows a high level of intelligence from this gentleman. And in Brown, I think it's on the field. Now, I'm not saying that these are character guys that you're looking at to mentor your players off the field, but on the field, they could, I think, teach them a lot in both of these situations. So I think these are both good moves for both teams, but I don't think either one of these are going to take a position away from someone else. They're going to eat into some snaps. Let's be honest. Bell is going to get some of Edwards-Helaire snaps. It's going to happen. There may be some times where they even line him up at, slot wide receiver and leave Edwards-Helaire in. It may be some times where, you get Antonio Brown over there in a 3 or 4 wide receiver set. But there are going to be times where they're going to take snaps and plays away from other guys. That could be good because it could help guys not get injured in a year where we're seeing a lot of people get injured.
Or it could have the opposite impact. Guys not really be able to go out there and get into a flow of the game. They could end up getting injured. So
it could.
One thing I will kind of just throw out real quick. We talked a lot last year about Mike Tomlin maybe deserves some real consideration for Coach of the Year for the job he was able to do. And I think the fact we're sitting here talking about two guys and impact they could be having on contending teams who just a few years ago were centerpieces on that Pittsburgh team, and what Mike Tomlin's been able to still do with that team despite getting rid of those guys is really a testament to him as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even using Juju. Juju Smith-Schuster is having one of his least productive years. Is having his least productive year so far in the NFL.
Oh, they're using him. He's a decoy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's working because other guys are making plays. So if you can use what you have, and you have guys, a guy like Juju doesn't strike me as an individual that's like, oh, I'm not getting the catches, give me the deep ball and all that foolishness. We winning games, why am I tripping?
Yeah.
I'm showing that I can be a good teammate. You clearly are looking at other people to bring in that you could do cheaper. So, hey, I'm going to be a good teammate this year. If you get me right, you pay me right, maybe I'll be back. If not, there's a team right on the other side of the state. There's a team down in Charlotte. There's a couple of teams over in California. There's teams in several different places. Team in Miami. There's lots of teams that could use a Juju Smith-Schuster on their lineup. So he comes out, he does and says the right things. He keeps his mouth closed. He can get his money somewhere. So he's playing that very smart, in my opinion.
I mean, the thing is, I think Pittsburgh is going to pay him because I think a lot of people are going to look at just, what are the numbers? But Pittsburgh understands what he's doing. They understand the little things that he does that makes the team better. And that's why they're going to want to keep him around because they actually understand, okay, these are the things we're asking you to do. This is what you're doing. They're not necessarily going to worry so much about his individual stats if the team is playing well and he's playing a part of that.
Just saying, when you're a free agent, unless they're going to franchise him, you have the opportunity to go out, go to other teams, and I guarantee there's teams that will pay him quite a bit of money to come play for them. And they may price themselves, especially with Pittsburgh and their plethora at this time of really good-looking wide receivers. they may feel comfortable if it's not the price they want to pay with letting it roll out.
Yeah, they might.
There you go.
So, I know originally we were actually going to kick off with some baseball stuff, but since we've already started talking a little NFL here, I want to hear what your thoughts are on the Mike McCarthy drama going on out there in Dallas.
Well, I can't remember what ex-player it was, but I was actually watching a clip on Instagram. I think sums up um, my feelings the best. Now, this is from a guy who loves to see Dallas self-destruct. But at the end of the day, uh, I think it was Marcus Spears actually. At the end of the day, you're NFL players, right? If you have a problem with how you're being coached, with the preparation, with how those things are happening, you got two options. You can do what they did and you can run to the media and everywhere else, or you can man up, walk to the office of the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, the head coach, knock on the door. Coach, let me holler at you.
Yep.
Here's what's going on, coach. This is how I'm feeling. I'm not feeling like you're putting us in a position to win, right? But I want that to change, and I'm not trying to run to anyone to get you fired or, badmouth you, anything like that. But we need to talk because we're not prepared like we should be, and it's showing on the field. This defense should not be playing like this. This offense should not be looking like this. Zeke shouldn't be out there filming the ball. The preparation is not right, man. Let's get this right.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't handled that way. Clearly, someone's going to be upset when they're playing the way they're playing. So it's not a situation where you're looking like, oh, I can't believe that anyone would be mad in Dallas. I mean, Dallas looks horrible. All you're doing is making it worse on your team, on your coach. Now he's got to answer questions about this on top of everything else. And clearly he's outmatched at this point so far. That could change, but this is not going to help it. So what's the point?
Right. Yeah, I tell you, man, for me, when I look at Dallas, this is a team that they started, putting all these guys on the defense. I'm looking like a lot of these guys are a little bit over the hill or guys who haven't done anything in a long time. So I wasn't really sure how that was going to work out for them. But I said on this show multiple times that I have never been a fan of the McCarthy hire. I don't think he's a great coach. And I know that we had a draft show, Rob was talking about how explosive the offense was going to be and everything else. Their offense looked better under Jason Garrett. So, this is a situation where their offense isn't performing the way that they expected. Their defense has actually regressed. They got worse on defense. How much of that you put on a coach? It's hard to say for sure in year one when we're not even halfway through the season, but it doesn't look good. So I understand the frustrations, but I agree with you. You don't go to say that in public. You go and you take care of that in private. The only time you go public with stuff like that, and what I'm saying is because we've seen this in multiple instances here lately, is if you've gone and you've made your complaints privately and you don't feel like anything is changing and you want to get about, all you have to do in the NFL today is go and start airing your grievances publicly and you'll get out. What somebody did though is they didn't even do that. They weren't even trying to get out. They wanted to air their grievances privately, knowing it would come out publicly. So they didn't even want their name attached to it. So if that's the case, go have a conversation with your coach. Because I don't think you have.
Hey man, it's crazy. Got a couple of people in the comments kind of agreeing, I think along the lines of what we're saying now in our previous conversation. So appreciate you guys' comments. But the thing is, you're professionals, right? If there's a problem, you should try to solve it first. Like you said, if you go and you do that and nothing happens, and then you say, you know what, man? All right, I've talked to you about this. I'll let you know. You're not doing anything about it. Now I'm going to take it somewhere. But
Right.
obviously, like you said, a great point that you brought up, you didn't go to somebody and say, you can tell them I said that. You went to somebody and said, just say players, don't say my name.
Right. And usually when I hear these, reports of players saying something, it's usually one player. And that person is usually talking about some, it's not just me. Other people in the locker room feel this way too. But they don't get their names either.
Or you got a couple of people that are listening to that one person, and now they're going and they're running around saying stuff. But it normally, like you said, when no one wants to stand up and say I said it, it normally starts with one person. They may have got one rotten egg that's touching a couple of more people. So they may got a couple of other people that they could pull on their side and go run and do some stuff too. But my thing is go to the source, fix it, or I'm going to go out to the public and say, hey, this dude sucks. Is that
But
simple?
hey, bro, look, I'm just gonna put it like this. We see you though, Zeke. We see you.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if it's Zeke, bruh, you fumbled the ball twice last year. Unless you're gonna try to tell me coaching is the reason you can't hold on to the ball.
Maybe it is, man. Maybe that's why he can't hold on to the ball, man.
Nah,
He's so angry about the coaching that he
nah.
just can't hold on to the football, man. Maybe that's what it is. He might want to tighten it up, get his emotions in check, get out of his feelings.
That's a negative. That's a pure negative. But
Oh man,
still got to get that World Series talking. There, we got to get that World Series talking.
yeah. We do have one last move. The Ravens. They brought in Yannick, and they already had a really good defense. So this just adds yet another piece on that defense to get after the quarterback. And that front seven is looking really good right now. Does this?
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw Baltimore just get like annihilated by Kansas City a couple weeks ago. Is this a move that puts them back over the top, or do you think that they're still running at least in second place for the conference right now?
Well, last time that I checked, Yannick Ngakoue does not play wide receiver. So
I do not believe he does, sir. No.
yeah, so they need a wide receiver.
Yes, they do.
And until they can get their hands on a wide receiver, they're not going to be better than Kansas City. I don't care how much defense you bring in. Defense is great, and Conway will make them a better team, no doubt about it. But is it going to make them better on the area where they're lacking? No. All you're doing is boosting the strength.
Right.
So this is not going to put you ahead of Kansas City. This is going to leave you firmly behind Kansas City and possibly other teams as well. Because at the end of the day, you haven't still addressed the position that needs to be addressed, and that's wide receiver. This is a rental. He's a free agent after this year. He hasn't signed a new deal. You didn't give up a lot for him, but this is a rental.
Right.
So I don't think it makes them. I think it makes them a little bit better as a team overall, but it doesn't address their main concern, which is pass catchers.
Right.
He's not a pass catcher.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So there you have it. Switching over to baseball. Before we actually talk about what's going on in the World Series, I want to ask you as a Braves fan. You guys blew a 3-1 lead, and I know you are only a Braves fan. You're not a fan of the other Atlanta sports teams, but there is this thing here in Atlanta where they feel like all their teams are cursed. We've seen Georgia blow multiple big leads, usually to Alabama. We've watched, the Falcons have these epic meltdowns, including the 28-3 loss in the Super Bowl. And now the Braves go and blow a 3-1 lead and miss going to the World Series. So Atlanta fans feel like their team is cursed. So I'm curious, as a Braves fan, what is your view on this? Do you feel like because Atlanta fans make such a huge deal out of this, do you think it plays at all on the actual teams here? Like, because the players, even if they don't pay that much attention, they have to hear this stuff all the time.
Well, I saw a funny meme that it said it's basically saying that the Braves, the Hawks, the soccer team as well had to sacrifice their seasons so the Falcons could get a win. So I thought that was funny, but I meant to send it to you, but it got like crazy on the thread before I could. But yeah. So I first have to say, got on here last week, had threw on my little Braves hat, a little smug. I said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and knock them out, finish them out. We're not even going to let this go to game 6 or 7. We're going to go ahead and take care of business. And we did it. So, hey, it's not the first time I've believed in the team and they let me down. But to me, I think it does weigh a little bit. But at the end of the day, the Dodgers were a good team. My expectation was we have them where we want them, right? We're up. We just need to relax, go out there. We have multiple chances. But the same thing I said about the Lakers in 7, anybody. When you allow a team to come back, get that momentum, and go to game 7, it's hard to pull it back in. So I think my expectation was they were going to go ahead and take care of business. When they started kind of lollygagging a little bit, not really being as concerned. I actually watched some of the games. It didn't feel like they had that air of like just urgency.
Yeah.
Because you feel like, what, you got another game. To me, it felt like watching the Clippers, right? As far as not that they choked as far as they didn't go out and make plays, but that they didn't have that urgency. And then you try to turn it back on, and you've already let the Dodgers, who are one of the top 2 teams rankings-wise throughout this whole baseball season, get the momentum.
Right.
Baseball is very much a game of momentum. Most sports are, but definitely baseball because you have these long series. You had a momentum, you give it up, then you try to go take it back. That doesn't work. That's why we're at home.
Yeah, and along those lines, man, I got to give credit to Tampa because they basically were in the same boat. They were on the verge of blowing that same lead, and they actually managed to go out there and pull Game 7 out. So give them props. It can be done, but like you said, it's extremely difficult because once you lose that momentum, now you gotta be able to stop that momentum and then take it back, and that's extremely hard to do. So that's just one of those things, man, where one team got it done, one didn't. But now moving on to the World Series, a lot of people assumed after Game 1 that the Dodgers were going to run away with this World Series. I'm not sure why people were that foolish, because you would think after just watching what Tampa was able to do against Houston that they would have a little bit more faith in them. But, people just assume they did go out there and win Game 2. One thing that's interesting to me is kind of a casual baseball fan, and so you can feel free to correct me if I'm not right on this, whatever. But one thing that's interesting to me here is seeing how Tampa is going to do over the course of the series, because they clearly have better pitching than the Braves. And when you look at the Dodgers pitching, they have a couple of really good guys, but they don't have a lot outside of that. They're outside of their 2 starters. Their bullpen is not that strong. So if Tampa can be a consistent team hitting the ball, I think they can win this series, because the Dodgers are only going to really be able to give you great pitching for like 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit it around the head. Like, seriously, if you really just look at it and pay attention and think about everything, you were pretty correct. Sounds like you've almost been watching some baseball on the low.
A little bit. I've been trying to get into it a little bit.
But yeah, when you're a deeper team, pitching is important because it allows you to be able to be more flexible. So you go up against a certain lineup where you see a certain weakness in certain players. If you have enough pitching, you can exploit some of those weaknesses. You can pull, a pitcher in the pitch of the inning of relief, close out an inning, whatever, and then go to another pitcher. Obviously, you want to have more depth because you're playing lumped more close together, not just in this series, but throughout the whole season. And I definitely would agree that Tampa seems to have the edge over teams that the Dodgers have played in the past with pitching. The Braves were doing well, but again, everything switched. Houston was knocking the ball out of the park. They got to Tampa, and things changed. So I think Tampa's definitely the team that has the more elite top to bottom pitching, which in that case means I would say the Dodgers have the best starter in Kershaw, right? Of all the players. Every pitcher, I think Kershaw's the best. But he's a pitcher. He's only going to pitch every so often, right? He's not going to pitch game 1, game 3, game 5, and game 7. It's not going to happen. So what do you have after him? I know they have one other guy, and then you kind of get into so it's important. But if you're the Dodgers, you're laying your hat on hitting, right? You're there because you're able to outscore people. So that's how you're attempting to win. And then the Rays want to keep the game lower and use that pitching advantage. So it's a classic matchup of hitting versus pitching.
Yeah.
Who can get the edge? That's who's going to win this series. Through 2 games, it's exactly what most people would expect it to be. Game 3 is on right now. So there won't be a result on that until we're off the show. But I think by next week, we'll have a better idea of where things are standing and who's winning that battle. And I do have to say that I was wrong on something else last week. Baseball hasn't been very kind to me the past 2 weeks. But I said that this would be an interesting series if Tampa was in it. I was wrong. My bad, Tampa. My bad, Tampa fans.
I'm just going to plead, not really like a true baseball fan, so that's my excuse. I'm just now getting into the sport, so that's my excuse for anything stupid I say.
You just have to acknowledge it sometime, man. You just got to man up.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. When we flip over and start talking some more football, that's where I'll be happy to own up to all my stupidity.
Speaking of football, man, I know we hadn't necessarily have this as a topic to talk about. What in the world happened to Daniel Jones?
Well, like I told you earlier, bro, if this was basketball, they would have called a clear path foul on the 15-yard line. That dude was like home free. Listen, this is how bad that play was. I didn't even get to watch the game. When I saw the reports from the game, I only saw 2 things. I saw a headline that said that Carson Wentz led the Eagles on a 4th-quarter comeback. And then I saw the Daniel Jones play. That is literally the only thing they showed from the entire game. Was that one play, and then there was a headline that said that Carson Wentz led a comeback. That was it. That's all that I saw in regards to that game. I was dying laughing watching that video though, bro. I'm like, because at first I didn't realize what happened. So I just see him running. I was like, dog, they letting Daniel Jones do him like that. He's just running down the field like he Michael Vick over here. And then that dude, that first stumble came. I was like, oh, don't do it, bro. Don't tell me. It was a wrap, man. So soon as he took that first stumble, it was a wrap. He was done. And I know as an Eagles fan, you were over there dying, laughing, watching it, because I'm sure you were like mad watching him run down the field, ready to find the whole team, and that dude tripped. You like, thank you, appreciate it.
The funniest thing to me was, I'm like, they're going to score. They're already too close. They're going to score. But it was just funny to me because the memes. They got the one with Derrick Henry slapping him and he go flying. They got the one with the RKO out of nowhere. And my favorite is they got your boy Lance Stevenson with the.
He blew him over. They got the sniper one too.
And they got the sniper one, but my favorite is still the Lance Stevenson because honestly, it looks like that's what happened. That's what makes it so funny.
I haven't seen the Lance Stevenson yet. I got to go find that one.
Yeah, but you got to find it. It's just like Lance Stevenson sit on the side going.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go find the Lance Stevenson, bro. That just sounds hilarious.
It's funny, bro. It's funny. I mean, the game was pathetic by both teams. I'm a fan of one of the teams. I have to say, I'm embarrassed even in the win. The game was horrible. We should have lost. The Giants had lost several times before then. It was just bad. People say the NFC East is a bad division, and if you watched that game last night, you didn't see anything to make you feel any different. So,
yeah.
But we won, and I'll take it.
So we're gonna come back and talk about our surprises from football the past week and get our picks in. But before we do that, man, I do want to go ahead real quick and talk about the other news that came out today. The NBA is looking at maybe trying to relaunch the season December 22nd.
Yeah.
Some people are pushing for them to do at least mid-January. Either way, we're going to probably have a shortened season, maybe like 72 games, maybe even a little bit less. But I just know that's the number they were talking about right now. And, they were talking about wanting to be finished before the Olympics. So that way, if somebody wants to actually look a play in the Olympics.
Right.
I guess my only real issue with the start date is you just came back and just finished the season, like literally like a couple weeks ago. It's not so if you're talking about mid-December, you're really giving guys like a 2 month off season. So for teams that have been sitting at home that didn't get a bubble invite, or for teams that went to the bubble but didn't make the playoffs, yeah, they've had plenty of off season. But for the teams that made at least the conference finals, you're not really granting much of a break to those four teams. I think mid-January is still pushing a little bit, but that's at least better. I get why the NBA wants to try to have games on by Christmas. I just think it's too early.
Well, man, I was hearing in the beginning that Christmas was when they were attempting to get the games on by. I know after that there's a lot to talk about January, but I always felt like around Christmas was what really was going to happen. If we're honest, I know me, love my Nuggets, love basketball, but that first about 30, 40 games, I'm not really watching unless it's like Tuesday or Wednesday or Friday when nothing else is on. I'm not really watching anyway, so I don't really care.
You mean Friday daytime, obviously.
Of course. And after 8:30 to 9:30, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the time period that's blocked off, of course. But
yeah, just trying to get clarification.
Yeah, after that, just in case anybody misunderstanding that. So I appreciate you helping me clarify that. But those days, Monday nights, Thursday nights, Sunday nights, I'm not going to be watching until football's over. That's just, I'm going to be honest. Eagles could be out week 10, done for the season, no way to win, no way to make the playoffs. I'm still going to be watching football. So to me, whether you start Christmas Day, which I actually may watch if they start by Christmas, or you start January 7th, January 15th, not going to be watching the football over either way. For people who may not be that much into football, or maybe fans of teams who are perpetually bad, so you're used to making that jump, it may be important to you to have it back as soon as possible. For me, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, man. I could probably count on my hands the number of regular season games I might watch.
Right.
I mean, it's just like you said. It's when football's on, I don't even really start worrying about the NBA until like February.
And then you think about college basketball too. It's a much shorter season. So shoot, my team's normally pretty good in college basketball. So I'm normally paying attention, not so much as last year. For the most part, pretty good. So I'm watching college basketball some too. So some of those days I'm looking at NBA or college and I'm like, shoot, I'm about to watch the Tar Heels play.
I feel you on that. Eric said that both teams need to be dropped in the NFL and new owners can build 2 new spots. Tell us how you really feel, Eric. Tell us how you really feel, man. I feel like you hold back.
It was tough, man. It was tough to watch. It was a shame how it came down to needing Eric Ebron to drop a pass to even get the ball back and have a chance to win against the Giants. And, on this show, we have said for multiple weeks, and this is what was so we've said for multiple weeks, what? If you're the Giants, the Jets, or the Falcons, I'm always picking whoever you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
This game made me be like, we're almost there. That's probably the part that hurt me most.
You know the part that hurt me the most. So the thing like we lost to the Eagles. That's what hurt me the most.
That's what actually made me feel good. But it's a difference of perspective.
That was our rock bottom moment. At least we beat the Giants and the Jets.
Well, at least we beat the Giants by this much, but we beat them.
You beat the Giants by a 15-yard trip up.
Well, actually, it wasn't that play.
I know
that happened much earlier in the game when they scored. So
I know, but it's just, but in my mind, that's what did it.
I just want to make sure that, as you did earlier, I clarify how things actually happen.
Yeah. I feel you on that. I'm just not worried about facts in this case.
Hey man, facts are always a little important, in my opinion. In most
so we do have about 20 minutes left. I want to make sure we leave time for our picks at the end. So give me your 2 or 3 surprises from this past week in football. It could be NFL, college, whatever.
So of course, Atlanta Falcons got to win. Huge surprise. No, it's Minnesota. I know Kirk Cousins throws like 1 billion interceptions, but they actually won a game. So that's got to be like a huge surprise.
But we both picked them last week.
But still, they actually did it. It's the Atlanta Falcons. You understand what I'm saying? It's Atlanta Falcons. So they actually went out there and won a football game against a team that's not the Jets or the Giants. That you got to at least be slightly impressed. It's a 17-point win. So that means their defense actually did something. And we haven't heard much from them all season. The other one that I'll talk about, because I know there's one that you probably want to talk about, I'm not going to steal your thunder on that one, is how Green Bay absolutely stunk against Tampa. That was a shock. I picked Green Bay to win, but I did say I wouldn't be surprised if they don't, but I think it should be a good game. Boy, was I wrong. Aaron Rodgers, didn't look good, but you did not look good.
No. If you're talking about the Niners game, man, you can definitely talk about that. I wasn't even gonna talk about that one actually.
Well, man, actually, it wasn't that one. So I'll let you go ahead with yours. Those are the 2 that I'll go with.
Okay. So my one big one, and this may be the one you're talking about, is Florida State over North Carolina. Florida State is a team that, let's just be honest, the last couple of years we have been hot garbage trash juice, just horrible. And I didn't go into the game with any expectations. I sat down to watch the game. My wife said, "Who y'all playing?" I said, "Somebody we're gonna lose to." That's literally what my answer was. I didn't even bother telling them what the team name was. I just had no faith in my team going into the game. We showed a little bit of heart on offense against Notre Dame the week before. The defense made a nice goal line stand at the end of the game, showed a little bit of heart. But we still lost by like 3 touchdowns. So I didn't have any expectations going into this game that we had even a chance. We come out the first quarter, man, we over here blocking kicks and playing defense, and I'm like, who is this team? I don't know who this team is. And then they built this big lead up. They blew it in the second half, but they managed to hold on and get the win. So that was, for me, that was my big shock. I really had no expectations of that happening, but it was good to see, and it gives me some hope going forward for the rest of my team for this year. And then the other one for me, like you said, actually, it was the same one, was the that Vikings and Packers. I mean, I had no clue that was going to happen at all. Or not Vikings, Packers. You know what I meant.
Packers and Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks.
I got you.
Yeah, I didn't expect for the Packers to play that poorly. I wasn't necessarily surprised by who won, because I felt like it was a bit of a toss-up game, anyways. I was just surprised that Aaron Rodgers played that poorly, and that as a whole Green Bay played that poorly. But at the same time, I guess I really shouldn't be that surprised because San Francisco showed you twice last year what happens to Aaron Rodgers if you put pressure on him, and that's what Tampa did. They put pressure on him, and as we
Choose
all
another.
saw, you put pressure on Aaron Rodgers, he turns into Matt Ryan.
That's tough. I will
Yep.
say this: historically, North Carolina football, I wasn't as surprised as I knew you probably were. I actually watched that whole game because I expected that to happen. The thing about the Tar Heels, they play really well when they're the underdog or when they're like fighting for something. They're coming up, people are not giving them any respect. But once they kind of get that, once I saw that they got a top 5 spot, I'm like, yeah, they about to blow. And that's not to knock Florida State, right? Because you go out there and you play. Florida State did their thing and win the game, but Carolina consistently does this. North Carolina consistently does this in football. So I wasn't as surprised by it. I knew that you probably were because of how you've been feeling about Florida State for the last few years. But I wasn't that surprised. You came along at the right time. You caught them when you needed to catch them. And again, kudos. They did their job, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up. Um, oh yeah, that's. I was trying to remember what the score was. So another game that was a little bit not really surprising in terms of the outcome, but just how much of a beatdown it was for the Steelers and the Browns. The Browns have really been looking great this year,
That was 38 to
and
7, sir.
yes, that's why I was trying to double check was the score.
Yeah.
So I expected it to be a closer game. I expected Pittsburgh to win, but I thought it would be a more competitive game. It wasn't competitive at all. The only game that was more uncompetitive was that Clemson Georgia Tech game, which we all saw that coming. Sorry, Georgia Tech fans, but I'm still a little bit bitter from week one. So
Or that Dallas Arizona game was not competitive either.
yeah, but did you really expect that to be competitive?
You expected Cleveland to be competitive, so
Well, Cleveland's at least shown some ability to be competitive. Just saying.
against the
Just saying,
Jets and the
man.
Giants.
Man, the Cowboys actually have the second easiest remaining schedule. So it'd be
mm,
interesting to see if they're able to do anything with that or
mm. No, there's a
not. I
big
know.
problem there.
I know a lot of our longtime fans probably just like had to do a double take. It's like, wait, did I just hear a stat? Is there a stat in there? We throw one in every now and then, just give you all a little bone. Just
Got to
little,
switch it up. You got to switch it up.
yeah. That's it though. No more stats for at least a month. That's it.
The stat guy now longer wants to acknowledge his stattery.
Hey man, just an occasional stat, man. Just enough to keep people honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Definitely want to keep
it's
people on.
yeah, it's like if you like to run the ball every now and then you gotta hit the top off the defense. You know,
Or could do Doug Peterson and hardly ever run the ball.
well that's what I
It's a
said.
different
If you like
story
to
for a
run the
different
ball,
day.
sir, it's different. You know. All right, man. So let's go ahead and jump into our picks for this week. So I'm sure you got the games pulled up in front of you here.
Well,
If not,
I
then
did.
one of us is slacking.
Well, no, it's not that one of us is slacking. One of our one of us technology is not wanting to work with him at the
All
exact
right,
moment that we are right now.
I got you because I do actually have a pull up from. I always have to look up the that Brown score. All right, so we got the Falcons and the Lions. Call me crazy, but I think the Falcons can make it two in a row.
I'm going to call you crazy, Lions.
All right, Browns and Bengals. I think the Bengals are starting to find something. I'm going to go Bengals.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Packers and Texans. I'm gonna go Texans. It's gonna be a close game, but I'm gonna go Texans.
I'm actually going to go Texas with you. I think Deshaun's ready to shake the load off and play. Now they've got rid of their dead weight.
Panthers and Saints. And before you answer, keep in mind Michael Thomas has yet again been ruled out, and Emmanuel Sanders just went on the COVID list. I don't think the Saints really have anybody to throw the football to. I'm going to go Panthers.
Oh, I was going to go Panthers if they were playing. The Panthers just had a bad game. And again, in the market, they pissed. Coach is mad. All the players mad. They pissed. They pissed at themselves. They coming out and eat on the Saints. So they probably win by like 3, maybe 7. That's a big win for the Panthers. But go Panthers.
Oh,
if you're a Panthers fan, my
Uh,
bad. I'm just telling the truth. My bad. I'm just telling the truth.
that was funny, man. Bills and Jets. I'm going to take the Jets to lose.
I have a rule, and I'm going to stick to that rule. Bills.
Yeah, there's no way the Jets are winning that game. We got the Cowboys at the football team.
This is the ultimate 50-50 game, bro. This is the ultimate 50-50 game.
It really is.
Either one of them have a quarterback worth talking about. But I'm going to say the Redskins or the team. How about I'm going to use this one now? The team formerly known as the Redskins.
I'm going to say that the football team is going to win. Not just any football team, the football team. All right, another potential 50-50 game. Seahawks and Cardinals. It's a division game. Carolina or Arizona's, been a little hit or miss here lately. Seattle's been on a roll, but I think Arizona could actually knock them off. So I'm going to go Arizona.
So I'm going to go with a team that has Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf.
I can't blame you for that.
Seattle.
Got Chiefs and Broncos. I'm going to go Chiefs.
Yeah, we don't even need to talk about the Chiefs.
So the 49ers and their 22 IR players against the Patriots.
Gonna go Patriots.
I picked against my team last week and they proved me wrong. That psychology probably won't work 2 weeks in a row, so I'm just going to go 49ers and be a homer. I do actually think we have a chance. I'm not super confident about it, but I think we have a chance.
I'm just going to say Cam. Oh, Cam.
Well, man, running quarterbacks do scare me. Fortunately, he's a power running quarterback. He's a power running quarterback, which might actually be okay. He's not a speed running quarterback, so we might be okay.
Well, Wentz was a power running quarterback because he was not moving fast.
But he's shifty though. He's very shifty. Very shifty.
He is shifty. Cam is too though.
Listen, man, stop trying to bring me down, okay? I'm trying to hype myself up here, okay?
Jeez, just being honest, man. Are you asking me to get on this show with you and pick teams, right? So I have to pick the teams I honestly believe are going to win or lose.
All right, we got the Bucks and the Raiders. I'm actually going to go Raiders.
As Chris Berman would put it, the Raiders.
The Raiders. So now that I'm buying into Derek Carr, look, now that I'm buying into Derek Carr, he'll go let everybody down this week. So if you have Derek Carr on your fantasy team, I apologize.
Oh, he's on my team and he's starting. It's official. I'm not starting Cam. I'm not starting Big Ben. I'm starting Derek Carr with the Raiders and Henry Ruggs, Derek Waller, Josh Jacobs. Let's get them.
Well, I have no choice but to start Drew Brees in your league this week, so that's going to be horrible.
I have options this week.
So the Steelers and the Titans. I think that Pittsburgh can actually slow down Derrick Henry. I'm gonna go Pittsburgh.
I'm gonna go Titans. I don't think they
Okay.
can.
Okay. Jaguars at Chargers.
I'm very close to adding Jaguars to that list. I'm gonna go Chargers.
I am also going to go Chargers.
Yeah.
The Bears against the same old sorry Rams.
So I'm gonna say Bear down, but in this case, I mean Bear is down. We're going with the Rams.
I think that the Rams were embarrassed Sunday night,
Oh yeah.
and they don't do well after they're embarrassed. I'm going to go the Bears. And then next week, let me flip up to week 8 here. So next week for our Thursday night game, we're going to have the Falcons against the Panthers. And even though I said I think Atlanta's going to be able to make it 2 in a row this week, I don't think they'll make it 3 in a row. I'm going to go Carolina.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to deviate from my strategy. I'm going to go Panthers because they're playing Falcons.
I mean, hey, it's a pretty sound philosophy. It's only failed you once.
Oh, in Atlanta, FYI, if we're going to do this trade thing with Julio, make sure you stop by Philadelphia first. Thank you.
I would just like to remind Atlanta that Kyle Shanahan carried Dan Quinn to a Super Bowl. And if Dan Quinn's defense wasn't hot garbage, you would have won. So if you decide to get rid of Julio, call us first. That's my pitch.
Do you really want to send Julio to the 49ers, or would you want to send him somewhere where he can't be good probably until next year? Just being real. Do you want to possibly do something this year? Or do you want to send him somewhere where you're going to get a better draft pick out of trading?
Well,
think about that.
Hey, don't forget there's 7 teams getting in. We can still make the playoffs this year. We're not out.
I'm not talking about y'all being out. I'm talking about us being out. I saw that game last night. I watched every step. I saw that game.
Oh man. So going back through some of our comments from earlier, we had Eric gave us a sound check, so definitely appreciate you doing that. I did see that earlier, but just wanted to acknowledge it real quick. Billy says that he agrees with you about Antonio Brown, that he's just going to be happy to get another shot. Eric also thought that give somebody like Evans a break from putting the team on his back, even being on the field when he's injured. Thing is, though, football players a lot of times they don't want to come off the field when they're injured. They want to put the team on their back, so that's going to really depend on Mike Evans whether that does that or not. Eric also said facts. I'm going to assume that was about something I said. I have no idea what he was referring to, so I'm just going to.
No, he's actually agreeing with me in regards to Le'Veon Bell.
And then, as we already discussed, Eric did acknowledge that the Giants and the Eagles both should just start over, just change their name, go into witness protection.
Eric, I will say this, man. If I'm a Giants fan, I'm way more concerned because my quarterback can't even score on a wide open run play. And my tight end dropped probably the best pass that Daniel Jones made of the night to possibly put the game away. But as an Eagles fan, we decided to only play in the first and the fourth quarter. I complain about it every week. And we missed another field goal. So there's a lot of concern to go around. It's not really like, oh, y'all have a whole bunch of concerns. We don't have it. It's a 1-point game. So clearly, we're two teams that are, unfortunately for me, pretty evenly matched.
So Eric said the new NFL New York team, just like Washington, the New York football team, the football.
It's I gotta tell y'all, man, this has been a crazy year. We all know it. We started to get our sports back, man. I'm really excited. Looks like we're gonna have college basketball. I don't know how many of you guys that are watching or will watch the show during the week or college basketball fans. Love college basketball. It's like football for me. I can sit down and watch Loyola Marymount and Mount St. Mary's play. It doesn't matter. Because I think college, you get systems, you get like a lot of shots with the defense. It's a purer form of the game. By the time you get to the NBA, you walk, you travel, you do 5 moves that shouldn't allow you to do that everybody doing. You do double Euro steps, all kind of craziness. I think in college, you still have to be able to play. And with the amount of people that leave and come every year, and then you get a few that come back, it just makes it a really exciting experience. So looking forward to that. Read there may be some deviations from what we normally get, but I'm excited about that. And before we finish, the Big Ten is back. Starting this weekend. So more football to watch.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the Big Ten next week after we see them play their first games. I know going in that the two teams that most people are going to be keeping a watch on is going to be Ohio State and Wisconsin. So we'll kind of see where they are after this first game, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Big Ten next week after we have a chance to see them. I did want to quickly acknowledge Eric did put he had to explain to somebody that even though both teams suck, somebody had to win. They asked him if either team deserved to win. Eric, the question is not did one of the teams deserve to win. Whoever won deserved to win. The question is, do they deserve credit for it? And the answer to that is no. No, they do not.
And the sad thing is, I figure with a hat on for the winning team, and I can't even argue the statement this dude just made. As much as I want to, I can't argue that statement. And that is a loss in my mind. Just like that tie is pretty much lost.
Yes. Well, man, with that, I want to just remind everybody, hit the subscribe button down on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That way you always get notifications whenever we go live. You can also check us out on your favorite podcast. And tune in next Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cool, you got to kind of point like over, man. You're like straight down. And as always, we have to remind you that even the sun goes down.
Heroes eventually die.
And horoscopes, they often lie.
But sometimes why?
Nothing is for show.
Nothing is for certain.
But until they close the curtain,
it's him and I.
The play callers. Y'all better know that.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Much love. See y'all next week. ATL to Charlotte, North Carolina. Y'all better know that.
If you're watching the replay, enjoy.